A stomach rumbled and the sound of it echoed around the valley. David's men were starving. They'd been holed up in their mountain hideaway for months, with the Philistines to the east waiting to chop them up into little pieces, and Saul's men to the west waiting to chop them up into even smaller pieces. They were starving. Why not see if the locals can spare us a bit of grub? Good idea. I think they owe us a favour or two. David sent 10 of his men down to the big local farm, owned by a very rich man called Nabal, who was married to a very beautiful woman called Abigail, or Abby for short, although to be honest she preferred Abigail.
What do you want?
We're from David's army. Can you spare us some food?
And who's David when he's at home?
He's the one who's been keeping the Philistines off your back for the last 6 months.
Oh, David, I know, the religious nutter. And why should I give that religious nutter my food and my wine? Just tell me that, eh? I tell you, the sooner the Philistines get rid of that fanatic, the better. Now clear off, do you hear me? Or I'll show you how we deal with terrorists around here. Be gone.
So David's men turned round and went back to David and reported to him every word that Nabal had said. David couldn't believe his ears. He said that, did he? All right. Come on, men. Strap on your swords. I think it's time we paid that farmer a visit and taught him a little lesson. Meanwhile, back on the farm, one of Nabal's servants was telling Abigail, Nabal's wife, everything that Nabal had said to David's men. David and his men really looked after us. They protected us when we were out in the fields. When he finds out what your husband said to his men, he's not going to be happy. He'll be down here. And there's going to be trouble. You mark my words. There's going to be trouble. Abigail knew exactly what she had to do. Without saying a word to Nabal, she went off and packed a whole lot of food, a whole lot of wine, a whole lot of drink. She'd be ready for when David and his men arrived. Okay, so how do you deal with terrorists around here? Then the most gorgeous woman David had ever seen in his entire life stepped out of the doorway and threw herself at David's feet. And then she looked up at him with big, loving, watery eyes.
My lord, please forgive my husband's stupidity. Take this food and wine that I've packed for all of you. Take whatever food you want.
Abigail then went on to say all sorts of brilliant things to David, telling him how wonderful he was, how she knew that God was with him and how God was going to make him successful and how it would probably be a better idea if he didn't do any killing that day. And she just made David feel fantastic. And he decided, yeah, he would do what Abigail said. There wouldn't be any killing that day. He took the food, he took the wine, he took the drink, and he left without even hurting a fly. While Abigail had been sorting things out with David, Nabal, her husband, had been sorting himself out with a lovely bottle of wine. He was rolling around, singing songs, as drunk as a skunk. Abigail decided that now was probably not the best time to tell him what she'd just said to David. She'd leave it till morning, after he'd slept it all off.
And it's gone straight to my head.
But Abigail told Nabal, her husband, all that she'd done the following morning as he was having his breakfast. It didn't go down well. He became the angriest man that you've ever seen.
Abigail, how could you? How could you? You gave all that lovely food and all that lovely wine to that David? How could you? How could you do such a thing as that? Oh no!
The shock was so great for Nabal that he had a heart attack. He lasted 10 more days and then he died. Which just goes to prove that anger really is bad for your health.